I step off, and lo and behold, my ass was lower than my heels, I guess, and I wound up flipping upside down, and I'm hanging upside down. And when the rappel masters are looking at you with their eyes like pie plates,
What do we do?
like, oh shit! He's looking at me with panic in his face.
You are now listening to On the Beat Podcast.
And welcome to podcast number 11 of On the Beat Podcast with Lou Maroto and myself, John Riddle. Lou, how's it going?
It's going great.
It's going great. You're knocking me over with your enthusiasm. Have another beer.
I know we just started.
Yeah. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Absolutely.
All right. So before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, Simpatico Real Estate in West Palm Beach, downtown West Palm Beach area, Palm Beach Personal Protection Group, Lou Maroto's group, where they teach firearms and they do personal protection work.
Any security needs.
Any security needs. And through my business of Riddle Defense, where we teach combat Krav Maga and firearms training. And welcome to Jose, our producer. Can we call him our producer now?
He's our engineer, producer.
Jack of all trades. All right. All right, so we're here today alone. Okay. Last couple were kind of dark, so we have to drink that away and then get talking. We had discussed earlier that we were going to talk about our SWAT days.
Yeah, we were supposed to. Unfortunately, I guess people's schedules, change, and we can always come back to that episode another day.
Sure.
But it definitely would have been cool to
get a bunch of guys.
Get a bunch of guys, retired guys, guys that weren't on the team, and speak about,
But we're here. And we can do it.
We are here with our bud.
Yeah, Bud Light. All right. So,
we're kind of going. I mean, the name of the podcast is On the Beat, right? But today we're gonna go off the beat a little bit, kind of relax a little bit, which is what we always try to preach. You have to do something outside of law enforcement. You got to relax a little bit. So we're kind of doing the same thing today.
Yeah, everybody's so freaking uptight these days.
Especially with everything going on. Yeah, you're right. So
why does my mic keep dropping? Jesus Christ. All right. There. Yeah, I mean, it's just light and just have some fun with it. Tell some stories.
We're just going to feed off each other and see where it takes us.
So let's get to it. When did you get on the team?
Oh, I got in. Well, I tried out twice. First time I tried that was, I think, 1999. Yeah. No. Yeah, 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got hired in 96. Yeah, I made the tryouts in 99. I didn't get picked though. And back then we had what? I think we had 15 guys.
Sure.
On that group trying out.
Yeah. And back then, compared to today, right? Because you guys just had tryouts.
Yeah, we just did.
And you have 3 people try out.
Yeah, we had 3 candidates.
That's pretty piss poor, in my opinion. I think, I'm going to be blunt today.
Yeah, you can say anything you want.
Because it's like, back when I tried out, we had 16. I believe it was 16 people, right? And we were vying for, I think, 4 positions at the time, And it was, back then, it was the tryouts were tough, and I mean, you said you had how many? 12?
When
people tried?
The first time I tried out, I believe there was 15.
Okay.
15 guys.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That was, and when I got hired in 95, 96, there was it was a big group, maybe a mass hiring of a lot of good dudes, good officers.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing you wanted to do was to get on a team.
Yeah, because I know I was one of the cadre on your
Yeah.
when you tried out.
I think on both.
Yeah,
I don't know why I remember that.
but it was it's a rite of passage, I guess, like going in the military,
It
right?
is.
Um, because being a SWAT team member, you're held at a higher standard every day,
Yep.
right? Your training is at a higher standard, um, and the officers, the other officers on the police department look up to the SWAT guys, right?
Yeah.
When we're out and about, especially when we're out on the street looking for more knowledge. So being held to that higher standard, right, is really important.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what drew me to it. I liked that. I liked the extra training that we got, firearms training, tactics training, everything we did. But being held to a higher standard, I think that's huge. That people are going to look up to you. Not an ego thing, okay, but
Right.
a thing where, look, we went through this and we earned it, and we have to earn it all the time.
Yep.
It's not like, it's not like once you pass and you get on the team and you go through your year of probation on the team that you're locked in.
Right.
Your services could no longer be needed
Absolutely.
at any time, as soon as you screw something up.
Yep.
But tell me about your tryout. What was your tryout like?
Well, and going real quick to what you just said, what attracted you? Us, and I think you were. I think you were the same, but I was fresh out of the Marine Corps.
Mm.
Really, I got out in '94, and I got hired a year or two after my discharge from the military. So we still wanted to be part of some kind of brotherhood, some
Right.
kind of a team, something that you looked up to, where you would get more training than the normal officer.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some great team leaders back then. We had some great commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be a part of that. But like what you just asked is like, what was my first trial like? I mean, it was. I would probably say it's 16 weeks of Marine Corps boot camp, in I think it was 4 days back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 days, right? Wasn't it in 1999?
Sure, I always thought it was 2.
2 or 3.
Maybe it felt like 4.
Yeah, maybe it felt like 4. But it was probably, yeah. I would say it was 16 weeks of Marine Corps boot camp in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may say it's hazing. It's not hazing. It's you have to test a person's ability to work under stress.
Sure.
A person's physical ability to carry equipment, to move from point A to point B, etc. So, like you said, it is a rite of passage. You have to earn that. And from the time that you're told, hey, there's going to be tryouts, say March. It was always usually like March, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you start training. And whether you train by yourself or you train with a group, that's when you begin prepping.
Right.
And
the training, I remember training with a handful of guys that tried out, and some of them were already on the team. They were just friends, and they trained with us. They, running, pull-ups, chin-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, all the calisthenics and stuff, and more running. And I did 6 years in the Air Force. So I did my 4 years, got out. I did a couple of years in the reserve. So I was still in the reserve.
Right.
So I was still in, kept myself, I always, my whole life, kept myself in shape. So, but something like that, you can never get yourself in shape for. I mean, you think you're in shape.
Right.
And then when you're out there and you're getting your ass dragged through the dirt, you figure, wow, I thought I was ready for this.
It's like you can only do so many leg lifts, push-ups, side strider hops, whatever, all the calisthenics. but it's tough. From the second that you're in that garage waiting for those cadres, to walk up and introduce themselves.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Sure.
Your nerves are just your heart rate is pumping.
Absolutely. I remember being in that position. We were actually, it was the old building,
Okay.
and we were standing out in the parking lot in formation, right? And everybody had to be dressed the same.
Yep.
And there was always one. There's always one screws it up, right? And everybody pays for it, right? So it's equal opportunity, pain penalty.
Yep.
Right. So that's cool. Get it, get the game. And then questions up and down the ranks of questions, right?
Yes.
Right. And these questions are like come out of nowhere, right?
Do you know who Chesty Puller was?
Yeah. And you got a kid that's never been in the military, like somebody came up to me, what's the cyclic rate of fire of the M60 machine gun? Right. And I knew it because I taught it. Right. And it just pissed them off.
But you at least had to know the serial number to your firearm. At
That
minimum,
was always a given there, man. That was always one that you knew was going to come, right? Because that got slipped out from the other guys that went out for the team prior to you.
Yeah,
right?
and we're always nitpicking, trying to figure out, hey, what can you tell me? What should I prep for? If you're smart, you should be doing that.
Sure.
Yeah. That's not really cheating. You just you're being smart. You're trying to get the ins and out of what you need to do. Yes, the edge.
Yeah. Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yes.
Especially in those tryouts.
But you can do that. You can do that when you have 15. When it's 3, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, do you remember your first day? What went on that first day?
Holy cow! I think we started about 5:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So you're formed up. Everybody's heart rate's pumping, and mind you, we do have the medics check every candidate just to make sure they're not above a certain number, that they're not going to die on us.
Because heart rates are high.
Yes, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And then you start with the introduction of the cadres, and then you start with the physical stuff. Show me how bad you want to be a part of this team.
Yeah.
And again, from running in the garage, you spend about an hour, maybe an hour and change in that garage
before you even
leave the building. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that hour, your body's warming up a little bit, but your nerves are still going.
Sure.
So you're going on an adrenaline dump, really.
And at the same time, the cadre is finding out who wants it, who doesn't, right?
Yeah. Because,
when you were in the garage, how many people dropped out there? Do you remember?
You know what? I think that year that I tried, the first year, no one dropped.
No one dropped.
Yeah, everybody was in pretty good condition. I think everybody was like, the cadres would, they were rooting for the group. They want to see people succeed and complete the trial. So their job is not to make you quit. If you quit, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is just to push you to that limit to see if you can go past it.
Sure.
I think that's the job of the cadre, not to make you quit, but just to test you. It's up to you whether you train and prepared enough, if you can get past that point, that mental point.
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't recall anyone dropping out. Later on in the day, yeah, we had a couple that dropped out. And I think it's all mental. For the most part, mental. I would say like 80% mental. If you let those mind games get to you, you're done.
If you let mind games get to you and personality get to you, personality of the cadre, if they're, he's picking on me. If you feel that way, you're not going to last.
Yeah, and
you probably shouldn't last.
We were just talking earlier. You got to have thick skin.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal. We've all been through it. We've all laid on that concrete. We've all had to buy T-shirts and black shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And you get your little number. And then and that's when you start seeing people kind of like where the leaders start to separate themselves. Like who's a leader, who's a follower. So all that stuff is being observed.
Yeah.
And then so from HQ, right, from that garage, we went on a run, a long run.
Yeah.
And mind you, again, this is 1999, so I kind of forget a couple of the routes that we took back then. But it's it's an all-day process where you're up and down on hills. We may be running in the street, and all of a sudden now you're on a grassy swell, doing push-ups, sit-ups, because we have to wait for one of the candidates that may be lacking, maybe drop back a little bit.
Right.
So, and we want to see the rest of those 14 guys turn around and try to
Go back
and pick them up. Yeah. Because ultimately it's a team concept.
Sure.
So
don't leave anybody back.
Yep.
Yeah. That's where it starts. That's where building that mindset starts, right?
Absolutely.
In that training.
Absolutely. And then I think that the first day to me was probably, it is the hardest day, because you go from 5:30 to almost 5, and back then I remember we were out there after 5. I think I think it was Lieutenant Sowers. He was still the commanding officer of the team. And I think that was the year that we ended up going to the dike, Okeechobee Dike, and he ended up calling. I think it was he ended up calling Billy, I believe. Where the hell are them guys at? We're almost done with the run. And it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. And they got us immediately back to the station because we had to be back the next day.
I was there.
Hey, those white, nice cotton shirts you show up in the morning?
Sure. Not white
are a different color by that time.
Yeah, they're not white anymore.
I think I lost, it's kind of nasty, but I think I lost like 2 toenails, because you're running in.
I remember that. I remember. Yeah.
And they just popped off.
I remember being out there at the lake and seeing you guys on the dike at sunset.
Yes.
It was quite the Norman Rockwell style look. Because I was off at a distance watching, and I could see these figures
getting closer
in that kind of like orangey sunset, and it was
beautiful picture to have in your living room.
Yeah, but it looked, just from that distance, it looked painful.
Oh my God. And and all the stuff that was in between.
Everything in between. Yeah, the run's not bad, but it's what happens in between.
Well, so if you're lucky enough, if your body is lucky enough to endure all the physical fitness and the mental tests on the first day, you show up again the second day.
And that second day, in my head, was the hardest. First day, yeah, you're nervous. What's going to happen? What are we doing? And you have to, it's like getting like in a fight, right? You're nervous, you're scared. As soon as you get punched in the face, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Game's on now, okay? So as soon as that punch in the face happens on that run, or the PT in the garage or the parking lot happens, you get the willies out.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, I get it. So we start rolling, right? But that second day, going home, it was like,
yeah.
Yeah. And at night sleeping, it was like every time I rolled over, I woke up, because
you're thinking.
No, I wasn't thinking. There was muscles in my body, and I work out a lot, but there was muscles in my body that were hurting that I never knew I had, and then getting up is that true grit taste, or test. And it's like, okay, am I going back for another 12 hours of this?
Yeah.
And that's, for me, my head starts, right? So it's like, okay, today is day 1. Okay, it's Groundhog Day. It's day 1. I just go back. It's day 1 again. Ignore what happened yesterday. Ignore the pain that's in your body from yesterday, and it's day 1 again. Well, let's get it on, right? And then again, the second day starts. You got to get that punch in the face again. Get the willies out, and then it's okay. What's going next? Because we didn't know.
Right.
Right. there was a schedule of events, but we didn't get that memo, right? we didn't get that. We just followed along like sheep.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what it looks like, sheep.
Yeah.
Everybody's in white T-shirts.
Yeah.
So, I was hurting so bad, because people see you in the morning when they're going to work, right? And I'm talking about the other officers. They see you on Spine Road, and they get a very small window to see you information. Everybody's rushing, getting to throw it on the truck, before you leave for that first day. And they see you in those nice white shirts, and then you're walking fine, you're running,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the evening when it's time to go home, you see all the candidates just barely walking across Spine Road
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, every muscle hurts.
Yeah.
I literally, I think I had my wife rub Bengay all over
Really?
my body because it was hurting so bad.
Sure. And I remember the second morning lining up and looking around to see who was not there.
Yeah, we did have a
How
couple
many
that didn't.
dropouts
Yeah.
did we have that didn't come back the second day?
The phone calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I'm not coming. I can't. Nope.
Sorry, Sarge.
Yep.
And
that's
okay.
okay. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay.
It's okay, man. Because
Now you know.
Now we know, and we find out that okay, maybe you're not cut for this.
Well,
Maybe
one, at least thank God we're happy that you're alive.
Yeah.
And then two, hey, you can come back next year, and
Sure.
if you want, try again.
Sure. But maybe you're not the guy that.
Yeah, maybe it's not for you.
I want going with me through a door either. You
Wow.
know. So, but it comes out in the wash. It comes out in the wash in the long run.
Yeah. And I think was at the first day you get to do the rappelling.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that was probably one of the best parts of the day, because the cadres kind of ease off a little bit on you, right? So talking about heights and stuff like that, and not everyone is comfortable with heights,
right?
I love rappelling, so to me that was like serenity up there.
I was one of those guys. I did not like heights, and I was one of a few on the team that, do we really have to do this? I mean, we're in West Palm Beach, we're all, the buildings aren't really any now. Back then, aren't any more than 5 stories. I'll run the stairwell, but that was a very interesting type of training at that point, especially if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
Right. And I was in the Air Force, and I was talking at my unit about going out, trying out for SWAT, and somehow the word got passed down to the guys at Pararescue, right? So they come down and they say, "Hey, John, come on, man. Well, you're going out? Yeah, I'm going out for the team. Cool. We're going to teach you how to rappel." All right. Who better can I find, right? And they're volunteering their time for me. So before I know it, I'm going up top of a hangar, and they're tying me off, and they're rappelling with me. They're showing me how to rappel. So I learned how to rappel before I even got to the tryouts. Now, when I got to the tryouts and it was rappel day, get up there, and it's like we're on that. Back then, it was the old fire tower
off of Pike,
old Okeechobee, and 95.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it was okay. You stand up on the edge. It's a little parapet wall. The edge was probably about 12 inches, right? So we get up there, the wind's blowing, tied off, and we got 2 of our rappel masters, all right, are up there. And it's like, what the fuck am I doing up here?
They tied the shoestring.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, if I die, at least I'm dying doing something I love to do, that I wanted to always do.
It's gonna hurt.
So yeah, only for a minute, So I'm standing there, and I step off, and lo and behold, my ass was lower than my heels, I guess, and I wound up flipping upside down, and I'm hanging upside down. And when the rappel masters are looking at you with their eyes like pie plates,
what do we do?
Like, oh shit, he's looking at me with panic in his face, and I'm like, and I'm hanging there, and I'm like, okay. Right. So I muscled my way back up this rope to get my feet back on the wall,
right.
And then once I was up there, it was like, okay, I got to get off this friggin' wall, And and I bounded down. But and I think we had to do what 3 times,
Yeah, you had to do
3 jumps off that
three.
thing.
I think it was
right?
3 different times you had to do it.
Yeah,
Um, and then you were given the option if you wanted to try the Australian technique,
right. Yeah,
which
yeah.
I think you did off right off the bat.
I did it right off the bat. You know,
Man, that guy's good. What's he gonna
So-
do for 2 and 3?
exactly. But that was a shocker for me. But it was just, and I always said, why, we're supposed to be tactical, right? Why are we standing up and going off? How come we're not using a lower profile and like rolling off, right?
Which,
Well,
yeah,
a number of years later,
it changed.
the rappel masters, the new guys, went off to some legit schools, and they came back and said, "Hey, man, we're doing this all wrong." And I'm like, "No shit, what are we doing?" Well, we got to get up there and we got to roll off because we need to keep a low profile. And I'm like, I'm all for it,
And talking about rappelling, because we worked that in conjunction with our SWAT medics.
Mhm.
So they're pretty much, I think, in charge of the ropes and setting it up and all that stuff. So kudos to them because we've always had such a great relationship.
Mhm.
Even to this day.
Sure.
But yeah, and then also you get done with day 1, and I'm sure we missed a bunch of little fun games in between.
Mhm.
Talking about fun games, we finally lost our remember the little cap with the propeller?
Oh yeah, yeah. The multicolored one. With the-
We were looking for it the other day,
Mhm.
and either someone threw
gone?
it away, or
No,
yeah,
really?
so we got to come up with another one.
That had history. On it,
Oh
man.
my god,
Jesus. Yeah.
and people see you running down a public roadway with,
Propeller cap on.
with a cap and a propeller, But then going into day 2 now, which is when you have all your legs are like
Mhm.
noodles, right, from the
Mhm.
previous day, and now you have all the time events,
Yeah.
stuff that you have to pass,
The man carry, sprint,
the run,
shooting.
Yeah, shooting we do one day. I don't remember back then, but shooting that, the stress runs and all
Mhm.
that stuff
Stretch
was, I
runs.
think that was all on day 1.
Gas.
Yep, gas was on day 1 because, and again, it's been so long, but the way we do it now is we do most of the harder stuff on day 1 to give them a little bit of an opportunity to prepare for day 2.
Okay.
Like I said, our job is not to try to make anyone quit. It's
Mhm.
just to encourage you to keep going, and then it's up to you if you ring the bell.
Sure. Yeah.
But really, the most important one is that run, the mile and a half.
Yeah. Timed event.
You know,
mile and a half
that's-
run. I mean, guys could smoke everything else. We had guys that were really good at everything else. They didn't make the timed run.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, that officer, the young officer that made it this year, that was his 3rd time. And last year he went out, and I think he missed it by 18 seconds.
Hmm.
So 18 seconds is 18 seconds, but he came back out.
Yeah.
And
Good.
He did it like in 10 something this year,
There you go.
and I was like, that's a burst of energy.
Yeah. So what motivates you to do that?
Yeah, he was very happy.
Mhm.
Nice, good officer.
Cool.
But yeah, man, it's definitely probably the best thing one of the best positions or teams I've been on within the police department.
Yeah.
And,
No, I loved it. I did 16 years on that team, and went from the FNG breacher,
yeah,
sniper. First couple of years, or maybe the first year, was I was on the sniper team, and then I saw everybody when we were going out and doing things in the real world. I saw everybody going through the door, and I thought, that's what I want to do. So I got with Commander Sowers,
yeah,
and I said, "Hey, is it possible for me to transfer over?" And he says, "Absolutely." He said, "Absolutely." So I went over and started training as an entry team member and didn't look back, until my last couple of years before I pulled a pin when I went over to the sniper team and helped run that.
Man, I remember something about Lieutenant Sowers. It was we pretty much had completed everything for the tryouts, so we were all back at the locker. And man, my arms were like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a push up if you asked me to do one because I was just so tired.
Mm-hmm.
It was day 2. We've done everything. I completed everything. But I struggled a little bit that year, that second day.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, Maroto, if you give me one push up, and I think he put like $20 on the table. Give me $20. Give me one. So of course all the guys like, come on, get on the floor. Let's do it. Let me see you do it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was pretty cool. But I didn't get picked the first year.
Mm-hmm.
We had numerous openings, but there was a couple of guys that were senior to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up getting put on the team, and I did it again in 2000.
There you go.
Came back.
Yeah, I came on the agency in '89. Did I? No, I came on in '86. '89 is when I tried out, and I made it the first go around. And then after tryouts, a couple months down, or a month or so down the road, they said, "Okay, you're going to SWAT school. It's a 2-week school down south."
Oh, you guys ended up going to Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Ross and me, and went down there, and I lasted 2 days, 2 or 3 days on a run coming out of the parking garage on a 5-mile run, I think it was. Stepped down off the curb into the sewer grate, and boom, blew my ankle out. I didn't break it, but I tore the ligaments or the tendons or something, I guess was what they said. And I wound up getting pulled from that class, and I was in a cast for 8 weeks. They never sent me back, and they said, "Okay, we're going to send you to the FBI school." So I wound up going to 2 FBI schools, for SWAT. Yeah, and they were pretty cool. That was good school.
And that sucks when you get an injury like that because you train. You're like you're all into. You're gonna do good.
Yeah,
you're gonna do well, and then all of a sudden,
something like that happens. It's just that just
stuff,
happens. Yeah. But I knew it when it happened. When I went down on it, I heard something.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel any pain at that time, but so I continued to run, and we still had 1.5 miles to go. So we finished it, and when I got back to the locker at their agency, it was lunchtime, so we had to shower up and meet back up in the classroom before we had chow, and I took my boot off, and it was like it was this color. My ankle was this color, and the cadre looked at it and said, "Ooh, you're right now. You're going to the hospital. We're going to take you and get it checked out and see where you are." So that pulled me out of that, and then they didn't ever send anybody back to that school. And they said, we're going to send you to the FBI school. And so I went to the FBI school it was a week. It was good school. It was a good school. But I went to a couple of theirs, and it was very interesting, But getting into the actual work.
Oh, you mean like once you're on the team?
Yeah, once you're on the team, and now you're operating a little bit with the guys. You're starting to train, go out to training days, and you're on the range. We have a tactical day, we have a firearms day, and we're out on the range and we're shooting. Right, we're shooting. Back then, when I was on, I had an MP5. Carried our pistols, and we had the shotguns. Right, and we were very limited compared to the teams today. We were very limited. We didn't have the fancy Bearcat tanks and things of that nature that we have today, right? We had a Econoline van with a sliding door, right? And the back door would open. And we go out and hit these dope houses with maybe 6 or 7 guys and our team commander. And we had our regular street body armor and I wore a mesh load-bearing vest.
I was gonna say mix match equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And we would go out, we would, have our briefings and we go out. But back then, because of the way the world was, and it's nothing like it is today, but back then it was starting to brew, right? The crack was coming in. We were starting to see a lot of shootings, a lot of homicides in West Palm Beach.
Yep.
And they actually did, just before I got on, I forget who the company was, the camera company that came out. They did a expose on the team. It was Crack USA.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And it had our guys on there, right? It was just before I got on. But we went out with 6, 7 guys on a Friday night, and we'd hit 6 houses. And then Saturday night, we do it again. So we were racking up numbers. Back then, the narcotics unit was doing a lot of work. They were doing tons of work in developing search warrants and stuff. And they'd say, hey, we got this. We go out, we do maybe 6 on a Friday night, 6 on a Saturday night, because we didn't have a red team and a blue team back then. We had the team,
the team.
The team,
the A team.
Yeah. And it was, exactly, in the van. Right. And we were very busy, very busy. And, as time went by, then with tools, new things coming out for gear, things started to change a little bit, right? And then they said, hey, you know what? Because of what's going on, we need to beef up the team. So we're going to start having these tryouts, and this is how many guys we're looking for.
Yep.
This is how many we want, but we want quality. If we can't get 6 guys out of this tryout, then we don't get 6 guys. Yeah. And that's one thing about the command, that they were very locked down on that. We just don't want to put anybody on because we need people. We want good people on this team. And the tryouts, we sent 2 guys to the Miami school before I went down there, Ross went down there, and they brought back the program. And that's where the history of the tryout started, actually. Yep. And
that should be a question we ask the candidates.
Exactly. What's the history, right? How did it start? But that's the way it started with us, with West Palm Beach. It's 2 guys were sent to the city of Miami. They went through the whole school. They graduated, and then they took parts of that school, put it together, and that was our tryout. This is the way our tryout's going to be now. We're going to take what we learned in the school, we're going to put it all together, and now we're going to form it from a 2-week school. We're going to make it a 2-day tryout.
Nice.
Right, and that's why it's like we always said it's a 2-day kicking the balls.
Yeah.
But that's where that came from.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, when you started going operational with it, the training and then going out on the team, what'd you think? How did you feel?
Man, I tell you, it was I was like we were talking about, when you start off when you get off probation and now you are allowed to do certain things, maybe get on a stick. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to be one of the breachers. Start off with breaching. And I remember my first one, man. I was like, you're all amped up and you're not really talking to anybody because everybody's in their own,
Sure, everybody's in their zone.
In the game, mm-hmm. In the zone. And you're like, I have to get this door open. And lucky for me, it was an innie.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, Jesus. So, we get up there and grab that boomer and just boom. I think I almost let it go. I put so much into it. Not mm-hmm. that I'm a bodybuilder. I think you're just so amped up.
Sure.
And got it open and the team went in and I was like, Oh yeah, this is the first one. Thank
Yeah.
God everything went well.
Pop.
Yeah, popped.
Everything was good.
And just slowly but surely you start working your way in that stick
Mhm.
towards the front, not
Yeah,
towards the
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
towards the front.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time, and going real quick, going back to the guns. Yeah, we got issued a shotgun. We got issued an MP5,
Mhm.
and we had our the Glocks 22s.
Mhm.
So we had it clean, all three. Remember before
Mhm.
we left
Tryouts.
that build. Well, not only trials, but
But
on the
afterwards, yeah.
team.
After,
When we had
sure.
regular training.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were checked.
And who? Here's a little test
I
question
think
for
you
you.
already gave me the. You gave it up
Yeah,
already.
I did. I did.
You gave it up already.
Who was the first guy or the last guy to leave the locker?
Larry Costelli.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, he was Larry was a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Larry was a good dude. I haven't seen him or heard from him in a long time, but
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him. As far as entries and tactics. Every time we hit that shoot house over there at PBSO.
Mhm.
So I learned a lot from all those guys. But yeah, he literally checked, especially if you're a new guy.
Mhm.
I mean, he did the white glove test.
Sure did.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's get off at 5, it's 6 o'clock, I'm still cleaning guns.
Mhm.
Almost like sniper craft.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as you work your way towards the front of the stick, now you're eventually number one. That's almost like starting all over. Like you're so amped up.
Sure.
Make sure your fingers off the trigger.
Mhm.
Gun up, head up. All the stuff
Mhm.
that we're taught.
Head on a swivel, man.
Yeah, and
Going
as soon
through
as
that
you open
door,
that
right?
door,
Yeah.
back then, we had different tactics going in.
Mhm.
Just flow like smoke. Remember?
Mhm.
And that's changed because of just the evolution of SWAT teams and safety.
Sure.
Like, is there really a need to rush in
Mhm.
if you're doing a dope warrant?
Right.
Right.
And the dope warrants were for what? Trying to capture that evidence, right?
Right.
Because you could hear the toilets going, right?
Yep.
How many houses have you hit where you found backed up toilets?
Yeah.
Shit spilling out on the
Little
bathroom
files
floor.
or baggage just
Yeah,
flowing. It's not mine, officer.
No, it's not mine.
But yeah, I mean, the day that you become that number one guy, man, it's you're it.
Yep.
What happens after you, or anything that happens before anybody else go through that door, you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
So the first guy you come in contact, you own them.
Yeah.
And now everybody does their job and their assignments.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it was also feeling, and we still have those MP5s. They're in the armory.
Yeah.
But we don't use them.
No.
No, we have, well, everybody has
Wanna
M4s.
sell one?
Oh my God. I know, right? Hey, give me the highest bidder.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
God.
playing if anybody.
Yeah.
For everyone's looking.
I love that MP.
They were great. Easy to clean. They shot
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
It just felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we ended up going to I think the UMPs after
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
40
calibers.
Yep, 40 cal.
Yeah.
We still have a bunch of those. Then went to the G36 were nice.
G36, yeah.
Man, those are nice.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet
Fully
too.
auto.
Yeah.
But now we all use our M4s, and of course less lethal and all that other good stuff is part of any search warrant.
I remember with the MPs, when we went to the 40s, the UMPs, Bill and I went up to Phil Singleton. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I've heard of Singleton.
Okay, Singleton International, former SAS. And we did a week with him up in Orlando. And everybody had 9mm. I think there were 27 guys in the class, right? Sam and I are the only two with 40 cals. So, all right, you two guys on the end. And it was they had 9mm suppressed. These guys were just drilling holes.
They're suppressed. What's that mean?
And then, yeah. and we're down on the end driving a truck, you know, and it was a different world, you know. Then it was interesting to see the difference in the two weapon systems with just the calibers, you know, on how they operated, the control. And Phil was he was a master of that, man. The guy was a master of it. When you can see a guy at like 7 yards with an MP5 write his initials in a paper target.
Talk about control.
That amazes me, you know. And he taught us, you know, trigger control. You know, put it on full automatic.
Be able to squeeze off one.
Squeeze off one. Yeah. Squeeze off 2, 3. You know, work your way up. You know, and very, very interesting. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Some stuff I still have that I still train. You know, from that era. But something I'll never let go. You know.
You know, it's funny we're talking about the UMPs. Excuse me. Because we have a bunch of new guys on the team, but they've never shot, never had an opportunity to shoot one of those UMPs. Mm-hmm. So for SWAT trials, you know, we take them out there to make a little bit of noise, right? A little distraction noise when candidates are doing their thing. So I tell them, hey, you guys want to shoot it? And they're like, yeah. They never shot it. They never shot an automatic. Mm-hmm. They fell in love with them.
Sure.
And I said, believe it or not, we train with these guns. These are the guns that we use. They're operated with. Mm-hmm. And you had to be able to shoot 1, 2 rounds in full automatic mode.
Yeah.
You know? And they were like, man, it's hard. I said, like anything else, everything's hard at the beginning. Once you start practicing, you get comfortable with that weapon system, then you can do that. You can squeeze off 1, mm-hmm. 2. Because I remember Billy he harped on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I strongly recommend, you know, if you're a new officer and you like being part of a brotherhood, you know, go try out, man.
Yeah.
See what Absolutely. It's like, you know, even if you go through the process and maybe you say, this is not for me, mm-hmm. you know, you'll still be remembered as a person that tried out, that was willing to go out, you know, and put some blood, sweat, and tears on that pavement. Mm-hmm. And there was maybe 300 other people that said, nah, that's not for me. But you were one of those 300 people that said, no, I'll try it. Mm-hmm. I'll do it. Or I want to be a part of this thing.
Sure.
So we always commend anybody that even shows up. You know, that's the first thing we say. The meeting that we have, you know, a week or a couple of days before the actual trial, mm-hmm. we commend you for just coming in and saying, you know, I think I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So, you know, and one of the cool things that happened this year is we ended up with we had 3 candidates. Ultimately, we had 1 left, right? And I'm talking about day 2, 1 guy. So we have,
poor bastard.
Yeah, no, unexpected. Lucky for him, 3 medics, 3 West Palm guys showed up with white T-shirts, black shorts, like.
And these guys had nothing to do with SWAT.
Nothing.
They just heard this guy was out, the lone guy, the only guy left, and they came out.
A phone call was placed literally probably 12 hours prior to us meeting these guys. Mm-hmm. Man, and to do that, you know, like, my hat's off to you for just showing up and trying to support this guy that's trying to make the team. And these guys went through it. They put him through the ringer for that day.
One guy showed up. He said, "What was he doing just before he left the house to come or something?"
He said, "I asked him when we were at the park or something, doing a run. I said, did you guys train or anything for this?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Last night I was eating a key lime pie." Great guy, man. I think, God, I forget his name, but man, I can't say enough about those guys, man. They showed up, you know, in their nice white shirts, ended up going home at 12 because it had to be at work, like at 2 or something like that.
So they went through all of that, then they just shifted and went right back
They
to
shift adjusted. They were allowed to shift adjust. They showed up, and they were all beat up, wet. So they did three different runs. Um, and now 12 o'clock, get on the bus on the rig. They take them back to the FDE, and they switch out and they go in service.
That's good.
And I'm like, holy cow! I said, man, I'd love to see you guys next year. Hopefully, be some spots.
Yeah.
But that was hardcore.
Mm.
To not even train for it. And then one dude, he was an ex-boxer or used to box. And you could tell he was a strong dude. But like we said, you can only do so many push-ups and leg lifts and bends and thrusts on that concrete that kind of cuts into your hands. And I thought he was going to go down. We had one of the other medics watching him. But man, the guy pulled it. He made it through, and I was like, bro, I commend you, man. I said, you come with me anytime, through the door. So great dudes. And at the same time, they supported our guy, who I don't think they knew. I don't think they knew him personally. Like I said, it was a phone call was placed.
Cool. Yeah.
And, because usually we don't allow people, anyone to come to the tryout unless you're trying out.
Sure.
But, we all had the same feeling, like, now that this is pretty cool that you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
So, and then, and after we got together after day 2, they came out, say hello real quick, and then they left. So
nice.
Good guys,
Nice,
man. I wish that we had enough. More of our own that were willing to try out.
Maybe it's too hard for them.
I don't know. I don't. Is it easy to get another unit?
You know what? Like going back to what I said.
Yeah.
If they're not going to come out, then they're probably not the guys you want going through the door with you.
Yeah. And we have 2 guys that predominantly run the tryout. Sergeants. And these guys are still with that old school mentality too. Like, if we can't get guys to or girls, right, guys or ladies, to come out and do the same thing that we've all been put through, then we can operate with what we have.
Sure.
Why kind of change it? And I get it. Sometimes things have to change a little bit, but still, you want to keep the tradition. You don't want it to come down to where you take a test and now you're on the team.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
We have who we have. We'll operate with what we have and not just take anyone.
Right.
Because
kind of like taking a test for rank.
Yeah.
And being able to be a good test taker and taking that test and passing it. Now, boom, give you the blessing in your whatever rank.
But you've never done anything.
But you haven't done a damn thing. So how are you going to lead people?
No.
Yeah. So, that happens often, but that's another podcast.
Yeah. For another 4 years.
So, tryouts, first time out, some of the things that were going on. I remember going out, and I was a breacher, right? And it was like where the L Street, N Street area, back behind where the convention center is now, right? Now, back in there was a shooting gallery back in the 80s.
That was before my time.
Yeah, that was a shooting gallery back in there. It was a pretty fun area to work. But we did one back there, and I remember being a breacher on that one. I'm hitting the door. It was it was a hollow core wooden door, outside door, which they don't even have anymore for outside in Florida, So I have the boomer, and I run up there, and I'm hitting this thing, and it was like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. I made this hole in the door. The guys had to step through.
Anybody home?
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I just screwed this up, I think, because it was like the door was almost like paper. or balsa wood, and that boomer just went through it like nothing. And I hit it again. It was like, okay, I'm just making a big hole. We're gonna have to go through the hole in the door because So we laughed about that later, but at the time it was pretty intense because it was like one of my first ones. Like didn't go as good as yours, but it was like shit, But it was funny to look at it afterwards. But that area down there was very busy for us back in that day, because a lot of things were happening back then, with the crack coming into to the county and very heavily, and different people coming in at the time that were good at doing that and had no qualms about shooting, about shooting each other or shooting at the police, so it made it a little. That's where, when we first started doing things like that, we first started seeing the intensity of what we do, in a team. It's fun. It's great doing it. It's great training and all that. But now it comes time that we're going out, we're doing something. And by the way, this guy that we're looking for, he killed somebody, and he shot at the police before. Then you can see, the air in the room's getting a little thick, and everybody's kind of straightens up a little bit in their seats, pays attention a little bit more. And then we go out and everybody operates, does what they're supposed to do as a cohesive team and make it work, And it's always nice looking back when you're driving back and you're counting all the heads, right? And everybody's coming back and saying, okay, man, that was a good one. That was a good one. And I was always one, even to the day I retired, was I'm driving home and I would say to myself, okay, did you do everything right today? Or were you just lucky?
We're all critics.
And I always try to check myself, and then think about it, and then always try to keep training to make yourself better, But there was, like I said, back then in those days, it was busy. We were doing a lot of stuff on 2 days a week, like on Friday and Saturday nights. We would be busy, and we'd go out 8:00 at night. We wouldn't get done till 11:30 sometimes, from hitting different houses, waiting for the teams to come in, sort through everything that was found, recover it, and then we would go hide someplace and regroup, wait for the call. Okay, we're ready for the next one. Okay, here we go. Mount back up again and go hit the second one, and it was one after the other, So it was very interesting. It was busy, and a lot of knowledge was acquired through doing things back then that way, as light as we were, with manpower,
with your mesh,
manpower and gear, the mesh.
And I've seen the photos, and it's funny watching some of the looking at some of the photos.
Oh yeah,
I think you have some behind.
I got a little photo there with the mesh. We're on top of it. I don't even know if you remember. Do you remember the old Holiday Inn downtown? There's a one photo up there. 4 of us standing up there. We were getting ready to rappel off the top of the building, and we figured, let's stop for a photo op. But
because the one that we have that was Grand Street.
Yeah, the big one with the with the white
doing,
sleeves. Everybody's got the white shirts on.
Building searches or something.
Yeah, we were doing that was a tactical day. Yeah,
I was pretty new because I had a shotgun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You can always tell the newer guys with shotguns. Benelli, right?
Benelli, God,
yeah. Love those things.
Oh, Lemonhead was like the best on that damn
thing.
He
was. Yeah, he was.
If you listen to Lemon,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was a mean operator on that thing.
That thing did not move him.
No,
as fast as he sent rounds down range. It was good. He was good with it.
One of the things that I loved, I still love. Actually, I don't get to see it as much now because as a sniper, we ride in the APC usually on the way back home. But being in the van with the entry team was, when you completed the warrant,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's good to go, SWAT out, remember, radio's off,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and everybody's adrenaline kind of went
Start
down.
to settle down a little
Now
bit.
we
Yeah.
start joking around a little bit,
Mhm.
like, God, dummy, what you doing, making the
Yeah,
left
yeah,
or right?
yeah, yeah,
So now you get to do,
Oh, yeah.
nobody else can hear but us.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved that. To me, that was like the brotherhood I was looking for.
Sure. Yeah.
This is what
That
it's
was
about.
like the debrief
Yeah,
before the debrief.
exactly.
You know?
Like this is the greatest thing. We're in this bus, the bread truck.
Yeah.
And now we can talk amongst ourselves. It
Mhm.
stays in here.
Yeah.
And we correct ourselves. Hey, think about this, think about that, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
I wish Gus would have made it today, because I remember a warrant that I did, and it was I had the Halligan, and it was an
Mhm.
outward
Mhm.
going door, opening door, and man, this thing would not budge, and I'm trying to ride it up and down, trying to wedge it, and I remember Gus was one. I think Gus or Chappie 1, 2,
Mhm.
1, and I'm only 5'9", and if it was Chappie, love you, Chap. But I think it was Gus, and he had to jump on and help me because that freaking door would not open.
Yeah.
It was barricaded or something that had extra the nails, screws. I don't know, but it was tough. But he had to help me.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, ooh.
It reminds me up off of the Tamarind and Palm Beach Lakes, where the little gas station is on
Tank
the
and
corner there.
Tummy?
Yeah, just north of that, there was a little apartment,
Yes.
and we hit that one night, and I was a breacher. So we get up there, and we did the work a couple days before, and we knew there was bars on the windows and such. So because we're looking for secondary entry points and such. So we had a tow truck with us to be able to wrap the bars, and get those and yank those bars off the window just in case. Well, no shit. We get up there, and the door opened in. So I get up there with the boomer, and I hit it, and I'm telling you, it rattled my teeth. I hit it, and nothing happened. So I come back, I hit it again, right? And then I hit this thing with everything I had, and it was not moving, right? So I yell out, secondary entry point. Guys grab that cable, wrap it, boom, pull it, rake the window, bang it, and then they're in. And once we got in, they had a freaking like 1/4-inch piece of steel that was the same height as the door, and then they had about a 3-inch pipe going across the center of it with holes drilled in it and padlocked. I was like, holy shit, And we took it down. Well, once we got in through the secondary entry point, we did our thing, and then we took that door out, and we took a picture with it, because there was no way we were getting in that way.
Yeah.
It was crazy. That was one of the hardest in my time on the team, hardest doors we had gone through.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
They definitely didn't want you to come in.
No, not at all. But thank God for that tow truck. Wrapping those cables around that thing, and him just pulling away and pulling them right out of the concrete. And then raking and heading in. Just you seeing guys climbing through, diving through, and to make the entry. It was crazy.
It's like when you just reminded me throwing of a distraction device, your flashbang. The first time you got a chance to do that,
Yeah.
because there's so many things you have to think about before you deploy that. They may say there's no kids in the house, or on the debrief. I'm sorry, the briefing before the warrant,
Mm-hmm.
but all of a sudden you see a kid or something, and you're about to pull that pin, and you're sticking your head out, but somebody's got your lethal cover. But just you're still amped up though. And
Yeah.
I remember throwing my first one, and you're hoping that it doesn't just land there and doesn't go too
Mhm.
far in, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to hear it.
No, no. Well, I'll tell you, I had this thing. I don't know why, but I'd be first in, and for a number of years I was first in, and the door would get breached, and through our briefings, okay, we're going to bang this house because this guy's been known to carry firearms, blah blah blah. Okay, we're standing there, door gets breached, I automatically go, and on a number of occasions, I peel in and I see the
Ding,
bang
ding,
go
ding, ding,
past
ding.
me. Then it's boom, it goes off, and I catch hell afterwards.
Sure.
The hell are you doing, man? Huh? you know. But I've done that on a number of occasions. And then one time, Big D was behind me, and the door got breached, and I started to go, and I feel his hand on my shoulder. He pulls me back in. Then it went off, and then he let me go. But probably not the best tactic, right? Of going in before the thing goes off. But they were effective. They were
Absolutely.
very effective, man.
It's distraction is meant to distract you.
Yeah.
While we do our thing.
Yeah, we went in. There was a house up on 18th Street we hit, and we went in. We banged it, and the guy was sitting in the bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed, frozen, just staring. And it was the first one I've ever seen it affect like that. And we went in, boom, boom, boom. Here he is. He's just sitting on the bed, and we drop gears, just go over, stand him up, handcuff him. Nothing going on with this guy. He was in another world, But they're very effective.
Yep.
They're very effective.
And that's why now, especially nowadays, liability and case law and all that.
Yeah, of course.
We have to make numerous announcements, because you don't want people to think that they get home invaded.
Sure.
So that's like one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Make announcements. Just so whoever's inside knows, hey, it's the police, not your next door.
Yeah, not your competitor.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we always had this thing about doing these things at 4 in the morning.
No.
Because some agencies liked doing them at 4 in the morning. It was like we always were concerned about that. Where they're going to think at that time home invasion. But some agencies, they said, no, we're doing them at this time, and we need you to do the work for us. But we did it. We never had an incident. And I remember one we did. It was in a higher end neighborhood out west in West Palm, and we hit this house, and it was a mansion, and it wasn't tile. It was like some other type of stone floor.
Okay.
And high ceilings. And we banged this house. We banged it twice as we were moving through it. And at the end, we did what we had to do. It was a Fed warrant. And we're standing outside getting ready to, and we hear a voice from another house. Hey, wish you guys would call us before you come out and do something like this. And we're like, right. We'll call you next time, buddy. We laughed about that all the way back.
It's amazing what some people will say.
I know.
We'll
it's
call
crazy.
you. We'll put it on the community blotter.
Yeah. Don't tell your neighbor.
Put your earbuds in.
Yeah.
Wear your
Put your head under the pillow. But yeah, man, it's
definitely good times.
It's good times. What's the craziest thing you've done? Like on the team, call out or a warrant where it was pretty hairy. Anything?
I think every warrant is just as important as the other, because there's at least one gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that we have on.
Sure.
But we've all been in warrants where you've seen, the rifles and the AKs and stuff like that. Luckily, the guys inside the house weren't willing to use it against us.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Don't as a sniper, I remembered a couple of years ago there was a double homicide um, off of like 13th Street near Good Sam's
Mhm.
and Dixie in that area.
Mhm.
And literally, I don't know if this guy just lost it or he had a fight with somebody, but there was officers in the area. And long story short, he barricaded himself, and I had the what we call the two spot. So I'm west looking east, and the guy, he was in there for a couple of hours, wouldn't come out. But the team was ready to come in, and all of a sudden he showed himself on the window. But I could only see it was a double pane window, right? I could only see the upper portion of the window, so I couldn't tell if he had a gun or not.
Mhm.
But I was at least able to just call it out, and just say, hey, listen, he's up against the window. So whenever you come in that room, or I think we ended up sending the robot first, but if you come in that room, look towards the window because that's where he's standing right now.
Yeah.
I can't see his hands. But that's probably I really can't remember off the top of my head any incident where you might have had to use some lethal force or something like that.
Yeah.
But as a sniper, I think that's our job is really to give intel for the most part.
Sure. Yeah.
And
It's 90% of the job,
right,
right?
and prevent something from happening if we can.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm glad I was able to see it, and as hard as it is to kind of stay behind that glass, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Because if I would have missed it for a couple seconds, now he's
Sure.
got a gun, and God forbid one of our guys gets hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
Me, Bunker Ranch Road.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Bunker Ranch Road.
Yeah, I wasn't on a team, but yeah, I remember.
No,
that.
you weren't on a team then?
Nope.
Prior to Columbine, okay, the active shooter, Columbine active shooter incident. But beautiful day, right? And I'm on patrol. I'm in patrol, and I'm on Georgia Avenue, and I get a call. I'm talking to a guy out of my car. I'm talking to a guy, and I get this call that there was a yellow cab. It was a carjack, and he's running down Dixie Highway. And they said he's in the 5500 block of South Dixie. And I'm like, cool. That's right around where I am. So, or it may have been a little further north. And anyway, I'm running parallel to this guy. But I'm on Georgia Avenue, 2 lanes, and it's lunchtime, right around lunchtime. So I've got congestion there, and I'm trying to get around cars and trucks making deliveries and such. So I get down to Bunker Ranch. I make a left to go east towards Dixie. And I always equate it to the Godzilla movies. When Godzilla's coming through town and people are running, right? And they're screaming. That's what was coming at me, right? And I'm like, oh, shit. And they're banging on my car. You got to do something. He's in there. He's going to kill somebody. He's going to kill some. I'm like, all right. Oh, shit. And I get on the radio and we got an incident down here. That's, and I pull up to where they were pointing. And on the far west side of the building, there's a nondescript door, no doorknob on the outside, but this door opens up. This guy's looking, comes out, he's looking, he's got a gun, and he's got a woman. He sees me, I see him, he bails back in. I get on the radio, I say, all right, we got an armed individual in this building. And Chief gets on, and he says, John, if you need something special down there, let me know. And I said, like yesterday, So the guys, I set up a perimeter, inner and outer perimeter. And that's that picture over there on the wall. Siciliano was there. Key came down. They were just in the area because it was lunch, and everybody's out working or grabbing lunch. So they show up, and we're peeking around the wall at that point and just holding the perimeter down. And boom, he shoots, right? So we duck behind the wall. There was a young lady in the middle of Bunker Road there, worked for the Post. She's taking pictures. And I'm like, lady, get it out of the street. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get shot. And she's taking pictures. Just, you can hear the shutter on the camera. I'm like, lady, get out of the street. 3 times. Third time, lady, if you don't get out of the street, I'm going to arrest your ass. Get out. So she leaves. And that picture wound up on the front of the Post the next day. So what happens was we take over a garage door business. They sell doors and garage doors and your house front door.
Yeah.
They had a big warehouse. It was about this size actually that we're sitting in. And we all met there. And it was literally across the driveway where the objective was, right? So we're sitting in there and I'm talking to Sandman, right? And we're walking through drills and stuff of getting in there. We had the paperwork, everything on what we were doing. Hostage negotiation was talking to the bad guy. And unbeknownst to us at the time, we already killed somebody in there, right? And some guy comes walking in, a little sidebar on the story. Some guy comes walking in. He says, guys, need any help? I work for the SO, right? And he walks past us. And Sandman looks at him, jumps up, and grabs the guy. And I'm like, fuck, Bill, what are you doing? And Bill just takes the guy's gun from him. And they take this guy down, and it's like, it happened that fast, And he's not a deputy. And I said, how do you know? First, he's got no creds on him. Second, he's carrying a Makarov Russian pistol. Sandman, gun guru, says, I saw that gun right away, and I knew he wasn't. But the guy got into our perimeter.
It's crazy.
Not only into the perimeter, but into the inner perimeter where the team was. It's like, how the fuck that happened? So, to make things even better, Sowers comes up to me. He says, Johnny, you're going to take your team in after the guy. And I'm like, great.
One.
So here we go, And so I got with a bunch of the guys on the team. And I said, look, I got to know. Are you guys ready to do this?
Right.
If you don't want to do this, you need to tell me now. No, we're in. I said, okay. So they gave me the word. And we went in. And we got the door off the hinges and went in. And it was the Lemon was with me on his Benelli. We get into the room. This guy, he had a shotgun. And he blew up the gumball machine in the break room. So we go in, make entry in, dynamic entry in. We're skating, right? So I get all those guys settled down, check on them. I get the mirror. I'm looking around a corner. And I see a body laying there in the hallway. And it's a bunch of cubicles. It's a big office space. It's a law office. Turns out it was a law office for workman's compensation. So, and this guy had a problem with his attorney not getting his workers' compensation stuff put through, I guess, and he just went off, right? And he came hunting for her. She was at lunch. She missed the whole party.
Wow.
So I get on the radio. Give me a description of this guy again, because I'm thinking maybe he changed clothes.
Sure.
I don't know. So they give me the description. I said, I got a guy down. I see legs further down. I see legs sticking out of a cubicle. So we make entry into there, and we're moving down. Lamont, which is over my right side with the Benelli, right? So I'm feeling comfortable with him there, And then it's like, he's like, oh, shit. Look at that. And I'm like, what? And he says, that. And I look down, and there's on the floor, there's an eye looking at us. I'm like, okay, Lemon, focus. Let's keep moving, keep focusing. Then he does it again to me, right? And it was a finger. And I'm like, just keep going, keep going. So we get up on this guy. It turns out it was a bad guy. And it was just amazing what we saw on this, with what he did to himself. And I won't get into that, but we went through the walls. The walls, this guy must have had a party in there, because the walls were dug up on, we talk about rounds when they run along the walls. Yeah. And you could see where rounds just skipped along these walls and dug out the drywall, right? One attorney he killed. And we got in there, we cleared the whole place, and then brought all the guys back out again. And that was probably the craziest thing that we've done.
What year was that?
It was, like I said at the beginning, and where I was going to with this was, it was prior to the Columbine incident, because really on record today, that would have been an active shooter,
Absolutely.
right? So what did we do? Columbine was the history changer
Yep.
for law enforcement. You're no longer going to set up a perimeter and wait for the SWAT team. You're going to grab what you got and you're going to go in and you're going to take care of business. Prior to this, it was set up the perimeter, hold for,
Yep.
our leader came on and said, hey, if you need them down there, let me know now. Yeah, we need them now, right? Because you know how much time that takes,
Sure.
right? So everybody that was there mounted up and they brought my gear down to me, right? So, Christ, that probably took a good hour or more, So, but hostage negotiation was talking to this guy, keeping them talking, doing their thing, and then, that's when we got the word after the Sandman incident. We got the word we were going in, and taking care of that. That was the craziest for me,
Wow.
being on a team for 16 years that I was on. That was, but that's what we trained for.
And I'm sure you can remember it like yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I can still see him and what he did to himself, and I can still see the other gentleman, and I can see the carnage that went on in there.
Yep.
Like it was yesterday. But that's what we trained for, and that was why. That's why we go back to the earlier conversation. Why are you trying out? Why are you here? And that's why.
Why do I have to carry this stretcher for 4 miles? Because we're testing certain things
Yeah.
in you.
And that's why I tried out. That's why I did my time on team, because I wanted to do something like I did that particular day. Unfortunately, people were killed.
No.
But that's why we did what we did, on the team.
And it's a position we volunteer for.
Absolutely. We don't get anything. We don't get anything extra.
Unless you're fortunate to be off on a training day or something like that, you might get some OT. But for the most part, it's a voluntary position.
Absolutely. And that's like we were talking earlier about, how many guys, when I asked you, how many did you have try out, and I appreciate you guys inviting us out. I get the call, hey man, we're having tryouts. We'd like you guys to come out, and see what's going on. I was tied up here, but
usually we get about 4 or 5 guys that show up.
I was out when Sarah went out.
Yep. I remember. Yep.
But the thing is, it's a voluntary thing, right? You don't get paid extra money for it. It's something that you have to want to do, right? So I guess times are changing, man. I don't know. When you told me, I asked you, I said, how many did you have? I got 3. You got to be freaking kidding me, man. Then when you told me as to, probably why, right? It's like, Jesus, it's just really, I mean, we got to do better than that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people think it's not my fight, right? It's not my fight.
I don't know.
But, that could be your significant other inside of one of these places of work.
Yeah, and I mean, I never thought of it that way. When I tried out, when I was working for the amount of time, all that time I was on the team, I never thought about it that way. It was just something that I wanted to do,
right.
But maybe times are changing, man, but it's frustrating. And I'm not even on the job anymore. It frustrates me, it frustrates the shit out of me when you told me that,
Yeah. But like we said, hey, we'll operate what we have before we give you
for
a
lower
test.
standards. Yeah.
And, tell me how many holes in your boots, how many times does a shoelace wrap around?
Yeah.
Something stupid like that, but
crazy.
But yeah, brother,
man.
I'm glad I'm glad we got together today, bro. Because
this was just climbing the mountain trying to get this one done, But I mean, just to sit, shoot the shit, have a beer, a couple beers, more in there, and do this is good for me.
Yeah, we get to vent a little bit, a little bit of a break from your normal weekly routine.
Yeah.
You know, you're always busy at the range. I'm still busy at work. This is kind of like our day of venting. You know,
Yeah.
not even venting, but just tell some stories.
Yeah, tell some stories. And on the other occasions, you know, when we have people on, it's just trying to educate people too. You know,
Sure.
educating people what we do, and hopefully today, you know, people who listen to this see that, you know, guys that are on SWAT teams are really a cut above. You know, and you know that the people that don't know what they do have a little bit more of an education on, look, these guys have to go through a selection process. They're well trained, you know, some of the things that we do, some of the things that we see when we do things out and about that the general public doesn't even know we're doing.
And the amount of training days per month that you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You know, because it's 3 right now.
Yeah.
2 as a team, and then
Sniper's still
day.
doing separate
Yeah,
day.
we do
Yeah.
our sniper.
Good.
And that's our skill. That's what we
Mhm.
practice. So,
That's it. Cool.
but good
Cool.
deal.
All right, man.
Well-
So next Friday,
Next Friday.
Big George Randolph,
Yes.
former North American heavyweight champion in K1, former Army, former police officer,
Yep.
and presently, if I get it right, George, please don't hit me. He's a part-timer up in Central Florida in law enforcement and owns CrossFit
Great dude.
box up there. Yeah, great dude. Great dude. And when he comes on, I got a story. He's got a story about him and Jumpin' Bill
Okay.
and myself. We did one night with this guy, and this guy was jacked up on something. And you know how big these two guys are
Yeah.
and how strong they are, right? And I dwarf that. You know, they dwarf me. I'm like 5'8", right? And it took all 3 of us to take this guy down, right? And the incident that took place with that, it's very interesting.
No, I know.
Very interesting.
I know.
So
I'm looking forward to that one.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it
So
too.
it'll be good to see George.
And then after that, I've got a couple other interesting people that I just have to notify, set up some dates, and get him on. And I think that's really going to be some good stuff, especially with a couple of them that coming from the federal side.
Yep.
Of the world.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
All right, man. So I'm glad you came down.
Yeah, man. Always a
you know,
pleasure.
I know it's a ride to get here sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, but appreciate you coming down. Jose, thanks, buddy, for doing the magic. Next time,
See you guys.
we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by.